this is going to be back to normal now. Welcome to the Nagual Zone. It is Anaam again here, Sunday evening live. I'm loving these live formats, so let me know if that is suitable for you guys. You enjoying the lives as well? I'm really enjoying just do the live and it's done, right? All right, so today we have an interesting topic. Nothing that hasn't been talked about before, and many books written and all sorts. But it seems to me that Castaneda had these three amazing attributes that I don't think he already had them when he began his apprenticeship. He was already like that. He didn't have to train into developing these attributes. And these three attributes, we'll go over them point by point. The first attribute was that he was always curious. He was always asking questions of Don Juan. Always. Don Juan, what is this? What is that? What does impeccability mean? And then Don Juan would answer him, impeccability means and Oh, really? So what does that mean then? And what does that mean? And all the time, he was noting it all down. He was taking notes. According to his own words, he would take copious amounts of notes and then collate them when he had the free time. Many times he records saying that I worked on my notes whilst I had come back to Don Juan's little house that he had, where most of his training would take place, right? So he was always asking questions, and that is great because those of us who have read the books and feel that we resonate with the material in them, he was really asking questions for all of us, wasn't he? For everyone who's read the books. And the questions that he asked, I always found them to be exactly the questions that I would ask. Those are the things I'd like to know. And he really, none of his questions, if you notice, there's a lot of questions. Castaneda was constantly asking questions. Constantly. And recording his responses to those questions, recording obviously Don Juan's replies and answers, right? He was always asking questions, and he was asking questions which were relevant, which really were to the crux of the matter. He wasn't just asking silly questions that when you read the books, there's a lot of these new age type books that are in this question and answer format. You know, someone meets the guru and then people ask questions. Even in like one of my favorite books, The Power of Now, people ask such stupid questions. It's like, oh, come on. You have a chance to meet someone who knows a little bit, and that's the question you come up with. Think it out a little bit. You know, it's easy to figure some things out. But I found Castaneda's questions to be very, very incisive, very, very clever and intelligent questions. So he was always wanting to know, okay, what is happening? How does this tick? How does this work? He's always asking questions. Even though he took Don Juan's teachings pretty much at face value, he made sure that he really understood through asking a lot of questions what was the inner workings. What were the inner workings of the Toltec path as it was being taught at that time? And that is a great way to go about figuring out, okay, well then how does this work then? Okay, I see, all right, then how does this lead to that one then? And so we gain information that way, we gain knowledge. He was always asking questions. Secondly, the second attribute that really made him the master that he became, you know, he was always willing. He was always willing to do the work. I'm telling you this, it's so easy to walk away from the Toltec path, if not anything that will actually benefit us. It's easy. The amount of times I have witnessed people defending their problem. I'll be in a group or in a conversation or something, and the first thing I check when someone brings their something that, into the space that I'm in, or people are talking or whatever, and if I'm involved in that conversation and they're kind of looking for answers or whatever, expecting me to respond, the first thing I check with them is, do they actually want the solution? Do you actually want the solution? Do you actually want to get out of this situation? Or are you happy just doing something about it? Never actually doing the solution, but just doing something about it. You get a lot, not a lot, almost everyone is fat now, right? Including the children and all the way up to really old age. Everyone is fat like a little balloon, blown up balloon. It's the EMF exposure. What is it now? 70, 80 odd years of constant EMF exposure that changes the DNA. It's called dirty electricity for a reason. You want to know what Tesla used to think of the electricity that is running literally in grids, circuit boards, in the towns and cities around the world. That's just the start of the EMF pollution. And that's a whole topic it's a whole different video. Suffice it to say that fatness, not just because of EMFs, that's a big contributing factor, but also so many people just fat, man. And everyone, you ask people, they're happy doing something about it. I've been trying to lose weight for 5 years, for 10 years, and when this happened, I gained weight, this and that. Yeah, well, you can lose it, you know that. And then I check, do they actually want to do it, or are they happy doing something about it? There's two kinds of willingness. You can be willing to do something about it and be very happy and lucky, and then have your story, your past will build up as a big, nice, thick file in your head. Yeah, see, I've been trying to quit smoking for the last 40 years. Yeah. And I've been trying to get thin for the last I've tried every diet there is, and nothing works. And I've been trying to give up alcohol or give up sex addiction or give up this addiction and that addiction. I've been trying to figure out my relationship with my mom or my dad or my parents or my siblings or this and that and a divorce, and just doing something about it and just creating a personal history out of it. But it is possible to do it. There's that willingness. The willingness to just get it done. You want to lose weight, get it done. Don't faff about. Don't whine. Don't complain. Don't say, I'm doing something about it, ain't I? Can't you see? Yeah, well, no one cares. Just either lose weight or not. That's the choice you go, right? It's that. Castaneda was always willing to do it. He may have really struggled with many aspects of the training, as we all know when you read it. A lot of it confounded him, confused him, scared him thoroughly, to the point that he walked away for, I think it was 2-3 years almost. I don't remember. Right? Walked away, came back again. But he was always willing. Right, let's get this done. Let's do it. And he would record, Don Juan had given me a task of giving these gifts of gratitude to these two women that he used to know back in his university days. And so he tracks them down and he finds out what they're doing, and he gives these gifts of power to them. He's willing. He's not doing something about it. Don't want to try to track down those women. It's been so long now. I don't know where they are. I did try, I tried, but I don't know where they are now. No, he did it. He didn't do something about it. He did it. He figured out where they were living all those years later, went and did it. And it's many different things. He didn't waste time with doing something about it. He just went and did it. Yeah. So make sure you're not wasting your energy, your precious time, and your resources in doing something about it. Here's a little pro tip almost. I've been in the fitness business, you could say, due to my own, priorities. Ever since, for decades, there isn't much I haven't done in the fitness arena. Anytime someone says, yeah, I go to the gym, I already know, yeah, they're doing something about it. This person not fit, they're not interested in getting fit. Every time someone says, yeah, I'm into body weight, I want to master my body weight. I'm into body weight exercises. I don't need to pay any money to these gyms. They are health risks. They are injury centers, really, they should be called. And all these iron and machine hoo-ha and really doing all this bollocks. I don't do all of that. I don't need any props. I need only my body to get strong. You wanna look up names like Alexander Saz, I think his name, I forgot now. All-time strongman. He was, believe he was Polish. I might have got the name wrong. This guy didn't take any reasons. He worked as a spy, I believe, in World War II, and he was caught and put in prison. And obviously no gyms or anything. He worked out by using the bars of the gym. This is true story. And he was a very famous strongman of his day, doing incredible feats of strength and resistance, all sorts of amazing things. Used the bars of the prison he was in to make himself strong. He didn't do something about it, he went and did it. He escaped from prison. I remember this story. Yes, he actually escaped from prison and made it back to the Allies' territories and continued on from there. Point being, anyone, oh yeah, I go to the gym. I already know, yeah, good. Keep going to the gym. Good. Keep going. Keep thinking you're actually getting fitter. What you're doing is wrecking your ligaments. Gyms are completely unsustainable. I'm telling you this, Western gyms. They might build up your muscles, but this whole mentality of separation training, there's the biceps and then the triceps and then the forearms and then this muscle and this muscle and this muscle. I'm going to build them all up with little weights this way and little weights this way, and then I'm going to build up my earlobe muscles, and then I'm going to build up my lats and my it's just insane nonsense. Isometrics and biometrics and phytometrics and titimetrics and kakametrics. Who cares, man? Animals don't give a fuck about all this. But go ahead toe to toe with a little chimpanzee. Shake the hand of a chimpanzee. It is scientifically proven that a chimpanzee will literally crush the bones in your hand. I don't care how big and strong you are. Crush the bones in your hand. Chimp. If the chimp gets scared and really grabs your hand in a handshake, it'll crush the bones. Chimp doesn't need to go on isometrics and biometrics, all this white people's nonsense. So there's ways to lose weight if you're fat, to get really slim, sleek, powerful, and those involve what are called animal exercises, body weight exercises, calisthenics. Master your own body weight, and then see what happens. And of course, diet. Diet is 90% of it, and then 10%. In other words, coming back to the topic, you have to be willing. You have to be willing to do it, not just do something about it and waste years and so much money that you don't need to be paying to these gyms, right? It's an example. Gyms are a perfect example of a waste of money and time. Absolutely. You're better off just going to jiu-jitsu classes. Anyway, he was willing, and he was willing well till the point of his death. Castaneda was willing to train and train and keep going and keep going, keep going. He didn't say, okay, his willingness didn't end when his training ended. His willingness continued. He became the kind of person that just was a warrior. Right? Now, how all that panned out in his personal life and in the lives of others around him is a different conversation. There's no doubt that he practiced what he preached to the best of his ability and know-how. Okay? So no one can fault that. Absolutely not. The third thing, the third amazing attribute that all warriors have is that he may have walked away from the training. He really got scared the infamous night of the witch, where Don Juan tricked him into spending the night in his little area outdoors. And read up if you're not familiar with that story. It's a fabulous story. He got so scared the next morning he said, I can't do this anymore, and please, I will close this apprenticeship. I cannot continue, and walked away. Came back 2 years later. In other words, he may have walked away, but he didn't quit. He never quit. He never quit. Because if you quit, you quit. That's it, man. People in this day and age, you know what I found in this day and age? People admit defeat so easily. It's because of this real entitled mentality. I'm entitled to free information. I've got YouTube. I want to learn how to fly an aeroplane. I can look it up on YouTube. Just entitled people thinking it's all free. It's not free. All you do is fill your head with nonsense. It takes paying in time, paying in resources, and paying in your blood, sweat, and tears, aka energy, to really learn something. Just leaving fancy comments on YouTube channels doesn't mean you know anything at all. Right? You have to pay the price to learn something. And I will be doing another video, perhaps next week, about the fact that, write this one down. I'll do a whole live stream next time. All knowledge, any little bit of knowledge that you will ever gain, have gained, and are gaining, is the result of winning a battle of attrition. Chew on that one for a week, and then I'll explain that in the next live stream, hopefully. In other words, let's recap. Always, always, always be curious. Find out the behind the scenes. Don't just take whoever it is, the coach, teacher, guru, benefactor, whatever, master, trainer, whoever you're trying to learn from. Don't just take their instructions and feel like that's it. Be curious, ask, okay, what did you mean by that? You'll learn a lot by getting them to talk. You'll be surprised. You'll find a lot of shortcuts. They'll give you pro tips and they'll say, well, yeah, we'll try this one. And by that attitude, you show interest. And believe me, you cannot be willing if you're not interested. If you're just being a tourist. I sometimes have apprentices who are just tourists, really. I don't give a shit. I'll take their money. I don't care. Pay me if you like. Doesn't matter to me. It behooves you. If you want to apprentice with me, it behooves you to be interested. I'm not going to be interested for you. I'll just take your money. And I say it to people's faces. Doesn't matter to me at all. I'm not here to teach you anything. If you want to pay me to learn, good, it's your job to learn. At the same time, none of my apprentices can say that I'm not impeccable and beyond in teaching them, in imparting and taking great pains with them, right? But if you don't want to learn, I'm not going to push you. And so that means being interested. I did a live stream called Getting Laid or Getting Paid. The only two times the average man is interested, really interested in something, is if they're getting paid or if they're getting laid. The only time they'll be interested in any topic. That's the two ways to bribe the average man. So easy, so flimsy. Pay them enough, they'll be interested. Or dangle the getting laid carrot in front, they'll be interested. But very few people achieve the personal power to be interested because they are interested, not because there's a result coming or they're expecting some kind of reward or something will be gained or I will become a better person or I'll be able to duel in the desert with my personal power. You know, I don't know, I had this strange fool come on and challenged me one time. I think I mentioned it last time as well. It really, some foolishnesses really stick with you, right? Interest. You've got to develop the ability to be interested without any external influences being a reason for it. Anything. Because mom said so or teacher said so. Because that's how we grow up, you see. Parents said so, I should be interested. Teacher said so I should be interested. I need to get good grades, so I should be interested. You know, no one ever develops the capacity, very few people develop the capacity to be interested because they just weren't encouraged that way when they were growing up. They were always encouraged by the machine mind to develop a slave mind. A slave hive mind. A hive is a copy-paste mind. The slave mind is literally just one mind copy-pasted and installed into billions and billions and billions of creatures called human beings. It's a factory preset, it's a production line. Learn to be interested without being any reward from the outside. Just because you're interested, that's it. So one of the greatest skills to develop, to be a warrior. And the last one is, remember, if you quit, you quit, that's it. It's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to magically appear after 1 year or 3 years or 5 years or whatever you're subconsciously hoping and wishing. You quit, man, that's it. So whatever it is that you're pursuing, count the cost and make sure that you know what you're getting into. And then don't quit, because you will go through unexpected. Don Juan said one of the greatest pieces of gave some of the greatest pieces of information to Castaneda when he said, knowledge never comes in the way it is expected. Knowledge is never what you expect. And it took me quite a few years to really, it was one of those lines that puzzled me for a long time until I started seeing in my own life, yeah, it's true. Knowledge always comes after attrition, a battle, winning a battle of attrition, and knowledge never, the journey is never as I expected. So a lot of people give up because their expectation, I didn't expect this. Oh, it's a bit tough, isn't it? Oh, it's too difficult for me. Oh, I didn't expect it to be this. A lot of apprentices, one of the major reasons for apprentices to quit is that they didn't expect that actual changes would be required. they didn't expect that actual changes would be required. All my apprentices, those who have stuck, who are around, and some of them have been around for a bit, they've all got used to this idea that working with the Nagual Anaam is basically changing, constant changing, upgrading, and upgrading. We're not here to philosophize and have lovely talks over Zoom and nod sagely at each other's wisdoms and yes, oh yes. No, I want life evidence. I want life evidence. We want verification. We want to walk all the fancy words. It's action. Show me the action. I really don't care what you know, what a big shot you are in your own head. I couldn't care less. Show me what you got. Right? It's that. And that, these three attributes are required. No one can change unless they are willing to ask questions. How to change? How do I change? What is the way to change? Not assuming you're a big shot, you know everything, and trying to. Then I know that they're just doing something about it. They're not doing it. They're doing something about it. Right? So be curious. Ask questions. Someone who genuinely wants to change, you will see them asking questions, finding out more information. Secondly, being interested and willing to change, being willing to upgrade oneself, being willing to do what it takes to get to that point. Not like an anal obsessive person who just never stops and rests. No, you got to take rest, you got to relax. This is another thing I watch out for in people who claim big things about themselves is, do they know the art of relaxing and resting? If they don't, I know life will stop you, and you don't want life to stop you. Believe me, you really don't want that. You want anyone who says, Anaam, I'm starting small. You told me to get up to 20 push-ups in 4 weeks. I'm starting small. I'm only going to do 1 push-up, and then I'll increase it every 2-3 days. I know that they're good for that word. I know that person's going to succeed. Anyone who says, Anaam, you told me to get up to 20 push-ups in 4 weeks, and my arms are aching today because I just went all out. I tried 7, I couldn't. I can't do anything today. I already know. This person's doing something about it. You forget it. Nothing's gonna happen with this. At that point, I just fine, whatever. I guide them. I tell them, look, this is what's happening, obviously, and then they're expected to change. So these are the attributes to create, to live the life of a warrior. In any case, to learn something genuinely, to actually be qualified in something. And I don't mean qualifications as a piece of stupid paper that is, you can't even use those certificates of qualifications that you have for toilet paper, let me assure you that. Especially if you got PhD and MSD and LSB and MSG and all this behind and before your legal name, you got all this fancy stuff. Yeah, trust me, you're more brainwashed than the average person. That's all you have achieved is extra indoctrination, deep level hypnosis, deep level indoctrination. You're a doctor? No, you're indoctrinated. You're not a doctor of anything. You couldn't doctor an ant if you wanted to. You couldn't doctor yourself. You're a doctor of nothing. You're indoctrinated. What a surprise that those two words are very similar, huh? I should put a new spin on your PhDs and your doctorates and your MD and MSG, whatever the hell all this nonsense is. All white people come up with this bullshit. All right. And the last one is don't quit. You want to be a warrior, you don't get to quit. Simple, 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 simple. You want to be a warrior or fancy yourself to be some big shot one day or whatever it swims around between those two ears, don't quit. Simple. Just don't quit. Take rests, start slow and build up, whatever it is. Keep coming back, start slow, keep coming back because you're rushing too fast. Keep coming back and then build up again, build up again. That will ensure that you don't burn out and self-sabotage. These three attributes Castaneda had, he brought them into the training. That's why he was so successful in the training, right? In his own way, he was for a Westerner, he was very successful. Very successful. He successfully translated his perception and assemblage point out of the average man's consensus insanity into a separate reality. Not a different one, a separate one. You're gonna have different dogs, but we're talking about dogs and eagles here. If you want to just be a different dog, yeah, there's plenty of ways to do that. Just watch more YouTube videos and do something about it. If you want to go from a dog to an eagle, yeah, well, we're talking serious transformation. You're gonna have to grow feathers. From fur to feathers, maybe that's the next title of the next live stream. From fur to feathers. Excellent. Let's have some questions. Let's see if has anyone any questions at all. Today you guys are a bit quiet. Indoctrinated, yes, exactly right. I just literally speaking about it, it occurred to me. In some other stream you mentioned that more of female and male apprentices quit and mentioned that you know why but did not told. Are these attributes related to this? It's a really good question, you know. It's a really good question, really good question. You know, I can't say for the individual apprentices that the female ones that have quit and will continue to quit, you know, not everyone will just keep going and going and going, right? There's always a percentage that quit. The pattern I noticed, that is the one I've noticed. I'm sure women are very complex creatures, very multidimensional. That is why this world, the average man's consensus reality is purposefully not built for them. Women are like circles trying to fit into a square, really. This world, as it exists now for the last 2,000, much more actually, way much more. We're talking hundreds of thousands of years. Has not been built, purposefully not been built to accommodate women. And so you already have this aberration. And in my experience, the women apprentices quit mainly because of two things. One is no one taught them how to not be entitled little princesses. No one taught them how to do that. So subconsciously, they're all just entitled little princesses. And as I said before, doing something about it doesn't cut it in the Toltec world. You've got to do it, which means you've got to change. And a lot of people don't really want to change. They just want the tourism. They want the good bits about the travel. They're just tourists, really. As soon as it comes time to change, they're out. They're gone. I've just had this recently, couple of months ago, I believe. And the second thing is the mating instinct. The mating instinct is very strong in the female of any species. It's more strong than the male. And the mating instinct, by force of nature, must be the ultimate tyrant. Otherwise, no one would bother to procreate. No one. The hassle is too much. So the mating instinct, I'll do a whole thing about this one day. It's the mating instinct that produces all these hormones, and it will change your mind. Watch how people talk about parenthood. It's the best thing that could happen to you. Oh my God, when I look at my kids, oh my God, I just get this feeling. Oh my God, they're so cute. Oh God, look at them. I'm probably doing a rubbish accent. But it's the same here. Oh, my kids, I love them so much. And it's all just, all I can see is the mating instinct really being the driving force. Take away the genitals and you ain't got no sex left. And you definitely not got any procreational proclivities left either, I see. So in women, the mating instinct naturally, as a force of nature, is much stronger. And a lot of this kind of stuff, I never say don't have kids. I'm not one of those benefactors who say, oh, you should not be having children, or never, be celibate, or whatever else. I don't do all that. But you're taking on, you're stepping into a world, a whole different thing by being a parent. And a lot of women's bodies just will rebel at the possibility that it may be counterproductive. So they just leave. They sense that somehow very quickly. And the way I designed the apprenticeship, it is designed, the first 2 months are designed to filter the non-interested out. So they go through this kind of a little bit of a boot camp sort of thing, but it's really a filtration process. It vets those who are actually going to stick around. And then the next milestone for anyone to stick around is 6 months. If they do 365 days with me, then I know that, okay, this person's actually a little bit serious. Doesn't prove anything because they've spent a year. It just means that, okay, they're giving themselves a chance, because this is the long game. Nothing will come to you in 6 months or 2 months or 3 months. Nothing will happen. Very many benefits will happen, but this is the long game, man. It took Castaneda 12 years of training, I believe, plus a lifetime of applying. And I can attest and verify to that. My training ended, and it's taken me 15 odd years since then to consolidate and really become confident in myself that I can actually talk to, anyone as a thing. Do you think it's easy for me to run this, to come up on the screen and talk about this stuff? It's not. Now it is, because it's really in. But I couldn't have done this. I couldn't have done this 5 years ago. I was just not confident enough. It wasn't in me at that point. It takes time, man. It takes a lot of time. People aren't ready for that stuff. People are not ready to commit their entire life to their own betterment. I can assure you of this. It's much easier to do something about it than to actually do it. All right. One more question, and we'll call it a day. Kids are the future, my friend, but you are the present. Herbert, how to develop solid, ground-rooted, ferocious, quiet, grit spirit if one is an untalented or sensible, one are in an untalented, sensible soap bubble. I don't quite understand that question. I think I know where you're coming from, but you might have to clarify that. Sandeep, what do you mean by a predator? That's a different topic, Sandeep. I've done quite a few videos on that. Just check them out. What is the ultimate aim on the Toltec? Okay, I did a video on this. What is the ultimate aim on the Toltec path? Go and watch that. It's I think it was last year. There's a video already exists answering that one. Kids are your personal petty tyrants. Yeah, again, for the Toltecs, kids are not a useful decision. because it must be so, right? It must be so that the human offspring is an energy black hole. You can pour infinite energy and attention and time and resources into that black hole and it will never be satisfied. It's just this infinite black hole of energy that just sucks energy. Put one kid in a room full of adults, 100 adults and one kid, and guess what happens to everyone's attention? Every single one of them. Guess what happens to their attention? Whoosh! The kid traps every single person's attention. Every single one. And the younger they are, the more they are vortexes, black holes of energy and attention. And it must be so, you know. Maybe it's nature, I don't really know. There's no way to verify whether it is supposed to be like this. Because mankind is so fake now, so away from its naturality that there's no way to verify whether children are supposed to be such energy vampires. If there was a family that was living in the wild, off grid, you know, those kind of things. Yeah, I don't really know. John saying, what fuels your confidence? What fuels your confidence? The only way I can answer that is if you are not rooted, if you are somebody, if you're not rooted in inner emptiness, inner silence and emptiness, if you're not rooted, and it takes years, if you're not rooted in that, then you will always be insecure at some level. I'm telling you this. But when a human being is rooted in inner silence, emptiness, and then you have Toltec training on top of that, the Toltec training makes sure that that rootedness happens. Then confidence isn't a matter of building it up, or it just, at a certain point, you will have repeated being that way to the point where you're confident with it. It's like learning a language, you know, when you first start learning Chinese or Korean or whatever, you're not confident at all in using it, but you know, keep applying yourself, speaking the language, speak, and a year later you're fluent with it, you're confident, you can go into the shop and ask a chow, cow, cow, pow, whatever, and they'll give you a bag of rice. Right? A crude analogy, but you know, my attempt at being a comic. But that's how it works. Yeah, it's repetition. It's intelligent repetition, and then confidence comes. All right, with that, I shall bid you all goodbye, farewell, till next week. Thank you for joining me today. And let me know in the comments if you have anything else to add about it, about this topic, about anything that you'd like to ask. And walk in freedom. Have a great rest of the day. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.